بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين بائس الأنبياء والمرسلين ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله وصحبه منتجبين. قال الله تعالى في كتاب المبين: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ادعو إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة وجادلهم بالتي هي أحسن. Everything about our religion is beautiful, including the way which we want to teach and preach our religion. In this wonderful, awesome verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders us to invite people. See, the word invitation is very important. Ud'u, invite. Don't use force. Don't use violence. Invite people to the cause, to the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with wisdom and good, best advice, and have discussion with them in the best possible manner. Everything about this ayah is based on beauty and rationality. Invitation, ud'u. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam also says, كونوا دعاة للناس بغير ألسنتكم. Invite people without just speaking, talking. In another word, try to practice what you preach. In another word, your action, your performance should be so nice and decent that it attracts people by being responsible, honest, pious, serious in performance of rituals. Sometimes some people say that I don't like Islam and Muslims because I realized misbehavior from some practicing Muslims. You have come across this attitude. And they forget that only Salat, only going to Karbala, only attending to the Islamic Center is not enough. These are great, but we have to look behind these elements and principles. We need to read. We need to ask questions. We need to have class. We need to think. We need to be on a constant mood of improvement. This is lacking in the lifestyle of so many Muslims. And that's why Imam Sadiq says, don't be deceived, don't be cheated by someone's prayer, salat. Because one may perform salat out of habit. He is addicted to salat. See how trustworthy he or she is. Trustworthiness is regarding character, manner, ethics. So we need to invite people with wisdom, with the best advice. And also when we discuss and argue, it shouldn't be competitive. It should be very correct and meaningful. It should be in the best possible manner. And that's why we are living in a country which our practice reflect our religion. And alhamdulillah, there are so many good Muslims like yourselves who are inviting people to Islam in your workplace, in your neighborhood, with your classmates, with your teachers, by focusing about your character, by focusing about your even speech. This saying of Imam Sadiq doesn't mean that you shouldn't talk and you shouldn't preach what I'm doing here. Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam was asked, between silence and speech, which one is better? One is talking and the other one is silence. Imam said, speech is better than silence, because if you want to admire silence, you need to do it with speech, with words. So words, speech is better, but it should be meaningful. It should be with the right amount of time and words. So when our religion says invite, it means this is a very beautiful party. There is not only a very delicious food, a meal, drinks, but there are very nice and decent hosts. You will love it. You will love the hospitality. You will love the host. You will love the place. And then you will enjoy and will be beautified. Tonight, I'm going to talk about a book which I wrote it last year. It was printed in Iran, and the third edition was reprinted in Sydney. And this is in Persian, but it's worth to brief you about the content of the book in regards to the question why they became Muslim. The name of the book is Why They Became Muslim. چرا مسلمان شدن. As you know, we lose some Muslims. There are some Muslims who become atheists, who leave Islam, who want to say that I don't like Islam. What are the differences between the people who come to the fold of Islam and the people who desert? So we have two terms, reversion and desertion. The word reversion means people who come back and return to their origin, to their innate, because everybody is born a monotheist. It's the family which makes them Hindu or Buddhist or so on and so forth. So this is a very deep word for people who come to the fold of Islam, that they revert, not convert. What are the differences between these two parties? This is one part of this book. The other part is I have introduced great men and women. For instance, Henri Corbin, a French professor who went to Iran and studied there as a student with Allama Tabatabai. And he was a classmate of someone like Dr. Housani Nasser, one of the very intelligent, educated professor in America. And later he became Muslim after studying, reading, attending classes. The other person, Maryam Jamila, a Jewish lady, a scholarly personality from New York. She studied different religions. And finally, she accepted Islam. And she is admiring Islam in so many beautiful words that you will love it. You will love it. And she married with a Pakistani businessman who already was married with another lady. But imagine a woman from New York, highly educated, living in a very liberal city like New York, is going to Pakistan and marrying with a married Muslim man. And she had very interesting correspondence with Maulana Abul A'la Maududi, one of the great Islamic scholars of Pakistan. The other personality is Dr. Legenhausen, a professor from America who went to, again, Iran and studied Islam and then became a citizen over there. And now he is teaching over there. And he speaks Persian in a very fluent level. And he has written so many books. His books are available in Amazon, in Google. And if you Google their names, you will find very good information about them. This person is also very interesting. The head of the Communist Party in France, by the name of Roger Garaudy, he was Catholic, and then he became communist leader. He wanted to be the French president, and later he became Muslim, a poet, a politician, a statesman, a member of parliament, a historian, studied in Moscow, a writer. Finally, he became Muslim. And he wrote against certain policies of France that he was almost expelled from France. And where did he go? He went to a Muslim land, which was controlled or dominated by the Muslims in about 6 centuries ago, to Andalusia, to Spain, and lived there. This gentleman is also, yes, the first one, Murat Hofmann. Imagine a doctor of political science, ambassador of Germany in Algeria. He was exposed to Islam and studied Islam, the first one, Murat Hofmann, and became Muslim. This is the a French scholar by the name of Professor Henri Corman. The last one, Anne-Marie Schemel, a German scholar who studied Pashto, Persian, Arabic, Turkish, and she didn't marry because of her thirst for knowledge. She loved our Prophet and she wrote so many books. And she has a very good comment about Pashto and Persian. She says that I like the language of Pashto, but the civilization of Afghanistan are in the Persian speaking territories like Ghazni, like Herat, like Mazar. She doesn't mention Bamyan, but Bamyan is also a city of high architecture and engineering in ancient time. It's not for certain that she became Muslim, but imagine she wrote in her will that when I die, write on my tomb a hadith of Rasulullah. الناس نيام فإذا ماتوا انتبهوا. People are asleep. Once they die, they become awakened. This is what this German professor asked to write on her tomb. If you go to Germany in the cemetery, you will find. And if you Google it, her tomb is actually in Google. The last one, this is a member of parliament from Holland who wanted to write books against Islam. On the course of writing books, you need to read a lot of books, lots of books. And he wanted to find fault in Islam. On the course of writing against Islam, he himself became Muslim. His interviews and biographies also found in Google and in YouTube. The last one is also Jeffrey Link, a doctor of mathematician, American gentleman who read Quran and became Muslim. In this book, I have introduced a lot of them, and you can go and study for yourself. One of the very interesting personality, he knows 10 languages. Professor Ahmad Elga from America, teaching in Berkeley University in California. I was lucky enough to meet him in his office in Berkeley University. He speaks Persian better than lots of lecturers from Tehran University and Kabul University. And he wrote so many books. His books are translated in Persian and Arabic, and he is still alive. Originally British citizen and became American citizen, and now he's a citizen of Islam. He translated so many books of Imam Khomeini, and he is expert about Iran, so much so that he was the only personality in America, not U.S. Foreign Ministry, CIA, Defense Ministry. None of them were able to predict the success of Islamic revolution in Iran. But he predicted about 6 years before the revolution that the procedures and the events in Iran is going towards dominance of the scholars of Islamic school of thought. He predicted that the Muslim scholars will have an upper hand in the near future, and it happened because he is expert in Islam and in political science. He is an Orientalist. One of the Orientalists that he became himself a Muslim. So in this book, which inshallah it will be available there, and you can pay $10 for each edition. But if someone doesn't have money, doesn't matter. You can take it free of charge. But please pay $10 sadaqah and send it yourself. So the book is there, inshallah, and I would like one of the brothers to send about maybe 10, 15, 20 editions to upstairs for the ladies. And briefly, and it is related to Imam Hussein alayhi salam as well, because in the movement, in the epic of Karbala, there were Christians who reverted to Islam, not only one, more than one. I talked about one of them, Wahab bin Abdullah Kalabi. He himself, his wife and mother, and they really showed a great degree of sacrifice and bravery. They were Christians, and they were talking with Imam Hussein. And because they had kind and decent heart, they reverted to Islam. And it is a miracle, brothers and sisters, that according to Quran, the closest people to the Muslims are the Christians. وَلَتَجِدَنَّ أَقْرَبَهُمْ مَوَدَّةً لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّا نَصَارَى. ذلك بأن منهم قسيسين ورهبانا وهم لا يستكبرون. The closest people for the Muslims are those who say we are Christians. Why is it so? Because they have scholars, clergies who are good people, and they have people who are not, they have scholars who are not arrogant. Quran is a psychological book as well. In this verse, Quran relates acceptance of friendship of the non-Muslims to Islam because of lack of arrogance. Because people who are the enemy of Islam, they are indeed arrogant. Because they think that because we are coming from a poor country like Afghanistan, so our religion is also wrong. Because if you had a good religion, why your country is so backward? They forget that in Afghanistan, lots and lots of things are not Islamic. Because as an Islamic society, everybody should be literate and educated. Because Rasulullah says, ليس مني إلا عالما أو متعلما. Nobody can claim that he or she belongs to my community unless and until he or she is either a scholar or a student. The first choice is a scholar. You have to be a scholar. If you're not a scholar, if you're not a scholar like me, be a student. And there are lots and lots of people who are not students. They are illiterate. So this means that we are not fully practicing Muslims. We are partially Muslims, but partially Muslim is also good because if we invest and educate and train, we will be a better person. We will be a better Muslim. So in this book, I have talked about the differences between the people who come to Islam and the people who live Islam. What are the differences? The first difference is the fact that those who come to Islam, they are highly educated. They are very smart and wise people. Majority of them, as I showed, see, professors, doctors, lecturers, ambassadors, ministers, head of Communist Party in France. These are the pictures. I have given details. It's not just a mere and sheer slogan. No, I have given details. And inshallah, I'm going to increase the input in this book and write it in more details because this is a 40-year project. It's since 44 decades that I'm working on this project since I was in India as a student. We had a student association when we had a publication. And the first person that I introduced was this gentleman, Roger Garrity. I was impressed at how come a communist leader from France become Muslim. Now I know that they should be. If they don't be Muslim, we should ask question, why you don't become Muslim? Because Islam is the highest kind of rationality and justification and lifestyle. And we all, as human beings, should be looking for the better lifestyle, better rationality. Okay, the difference is those who come to the fold of Islam, they are highly educated. The people who live Islam, they are very uneducated. I'm saying most of the time, not all of the times, in 90% of the cases. The other difference is the people who come to Islam, they are coming from stable societies, affluent countries like France, Switzerland, Germany, Canada, Australia. But the people who live Islam, they are living Islam from war-torn countries. Because they don't like someone like me, they hate Islam. Because they don't like the Islamic or Islamic leaders, they hate Islam. Because they don't actually think and read properly, they hate Islam. So they are coming from an unstable background, whereas people like these personalities, they are coming from highly developed, advanced societies. They think, they read, they study. See, most of these personalities have made trips. They made travels to Egypt, to Iran, to Iraq, to Morocco, like Hamza Yusuf, an American scholar. He traveled to Morocco and for years he learned Arabic in the tent, in the forest, and finally he became Muslim. And he is one of the great speakers in English. The other difference is the people who come to Islam are high and more in numbers. Their quality and quantity is very significant. So their number is very high, and their quality is also very high, as they're coming from very educated background, whereas those who leave Islam, they are very small in numbers. So we hardly know anyone who leave Islam in our community, in our society, but we know there are some. And believe me, I met one of them, and he said that I'm ashamed of being a Muslim. I gave him this content. After 1 week, he told me, now I'm proud of being a Muslim. See, this is the impact of teaching and preaching and publication and invitation. He said, I am proud of being Muslim. I hope this book makes this kind of impression for those who are opponent of Islam, because I have primarily written this book for the youth, and I'm going to translate it in the near future, inshallah, and publish it in Australia. But I just brief you about this topic. And the other interesting difference for ladies, most of the people who revert to Islam are from ladies gender. They are women, they are females. More women revert to Islam than men. And I was listening to Voice of America, and the correspondent was asking from the British fully fledged liberal women, how come you become Muslim? Look at some Muslim countries, how restrictive and how oppressive they are against women. Why you become Muslim in London? And they said that in coming towards Islam, we differentiated between culture and religion. We realized that the restriction and oppression is not related to Islam. It is because of the cultural, tribal tendencies, not Islamic teachings. I heard it myself from Voice of America. And do you know that the son of the head of BBC World Service became Muslim? So if you read this book, inshallah, I would like you to be critical and make suggestions and contributions in regards to improvement of the book. Last but not least, I would also like to talk about the significance and beauties and blessings of reading. Voltaire, the French scholar, says that book is the basis of civilization. If you look at the most progressive and advanced countries, those are the countries which have the highest number of publications and libraries. One of the quality of an intelligent, wise, and for that matter, nice person is that he reads. She reads. As one of the other quality is he or she does exercise. He is not a lazy, inactive, passive person. So reading is of utmost importance. So much so that Imam Ali alayhi salam says that book is the garden of the scholars. Because garden is not just external, physical. Primarily, flowers and gardens are in our mind. Everything is in attitude. And I told you the other night, and unless you read books, you're not coming across this kind of lifestyle and mentality. Imagine the luckiest person. In this society, we are enjoying an affluent life, but not the best life. Who has the best life? Imam Ali says, إن أهل الناس عيشا من كان بما قسم الله له راضيا. The best life belongs to he or she who is satisfied, happy with the destiny. I explained it the other night. I don't repeat it. Do your best to get the highest number, the better job, the best wife, the best husband. But at the end of the day, be content, be satisfied with what you have been given. This is the best lifestyle. And unless you read, you're not going to have this kind of very high degree of life. Not only that, those who read, they will be inflicted with Alzheimer at the later stage of their life. They will look young and even beautiful, because when you read, you look very handsome, very nice, very pretty. So much so, once upon a time, someone was pretending that he is reading a book. He was illiterate, but he was taking the book on the upside down. He wanted to show us that I'm a scholar and I'm a student and I'm an intelligent person. So someone told him, sir, you have taken the book upside down. He said, sir, everybody is able to read book like this. If you're a real man, read it like this. So, on the basis of this very short introduction, I would like to emphasize the significance of reading. Please don't focus on the mobile phone because it hurts your eyes. I know people at the very young age who operated their eyes because of focusing on digital tools. And the children, my dear brothers and sisters who are at the age of 10, 7, 12, 13, I hope we can have personal meetings and discussions. Those children who are engaged and preoccupied with digital tools like mobile telephone, at the later stage of their life, they will be lazy. They won't be very intelligent because this is not normal. This is abnormal to focus on the mobile phone. So please read for yourself. Please be a member of a library. Please have a library at your home. I feel very sad if I go to a very luxurious home, everything is there, but not a library. At least there should be a bookshelf. We should exchange gifts in book format, not just flowers. Flowers is also very beautiful, just chocolates or something material. What is the best gift? We have got good, better, and the best. The best gift is a wise word. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through Quran is giving us wise words. So we find wise words in the holy book. In regards to Karbala, we all know that in Karbala, there are so many great personalities who participated. I mentioned about Wahab ibn Abdullah Kalabi, his wife and mother, who were Christians. And they had a private discussion. It's very interesting for the non-Muslims, for those who are antagonistic, the enemy of Islam, they are opposing Islam, to have private discussions with Islamic scholars. Personal and face-to-face interaction is very important. And that's why all of us are responsible to be a da'i, someone who invite others to our values. Because remember, when you teach and preach your religion, indeed you're giving the best thing to the other people, because this is the most healthy, rational lifestyle. Okay. There is another Christian who also became Muslim when he realized the cut head of Imam. In the history, we can't find, or it is very rare, that someone's head has been cut off and it is sent from one destination to the other. This exactly happened to Imam Hussein. And if you look at the Karbala epic, it is painful. It's so sad. And in the meantime, it's a great, brave epic that we find this story educational in so many ways, including even when the head of Imam was not on his body, its head was inviting others to the fold of its values, its ideals. The caravan who were carrying the prisoners and the head of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, they reached a point where there was a Christian clergy, and he came and said, "What's happening?" They said, "He is the grandson of the Prophet of Islam, and he is killed, and we take it to Sham." And he showed a lot of sadness and sympathy and said, if our Prophet Jesus had son, we would have put him on our eyes. And he said, I would give you 10,000 dinar. Give please this head for me. And when you leave this area, I return it. And this deal was done, and he took the head of Imam. He cleaned it. He actually put perfume on it. And he was talking with the head of Imam. And he respected the head of Imam. And at the end of the day, he became Muslim. He reverted to Islam. And he returned the head of Imam. But when the caravan of the enemy of Ahl Bayt reached Sham, they wanted to give the head of Imam to Yazid. And according to one version, Omar Assad, according to the other version, Shimr wanted to open The pocket where there was 10,000 dinar, they realized that all those coins or money has turned to stones. ولا تحسبن الذين غافلا ولا تحسبن ولا تحسبن الله غافلا عما يعمل الظالمون. Those who are cruel and oppressors, they shouldn't think that Allah is forgetful or ignorant about their actions. Sooner rather than later, according to Quran, they will be punished in a very strong manner that their eyes will be surprised. They saw this verse on one side of the coins, on one side of the stone. This verse was written. On the other side of the stone, the other verse was written. وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيْ مُنْقَلِبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ. Soon the people who were cruel and oppressors, they will face the outcome of their action. And when they saw this, and these two verses, one of them said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. I know my destiny. I lost and I am a loser. And he cried and he sent the head to Yazid. So this is the miracle. This is a karama. This is something which is supernatural. And I hardly tell about these stories on Mumbai, but I strongly believe on these kinds of extraordinary, supernatural events, even in today's life, that something like that might happen. And this was something that happened. So even the head of Imam Hussein is also so attractive that a person with a kind heart, that Quran says that the closest people to you, all Muslims, are the Christians, and it is because their clergies, their educated scholars are not arrogant. And this great scholar was not arrogant, he was humble, and that's why he accepted the religion that Imam Hussein alayhi salam sacrificed his life for the sake of its protection. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.